Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to be going over how you can create an in-game currency. So whether it is coins, cash, whatever, gold it may be, I'm going to have it to where you can display it on the UI, and then you'll also be able to pick it up. If you kill an actor, you'll be able to add it to your coins. And then as well as when you transfer levels, you'll be able to make sure that your currency is transferring accordingly. You can also set it up to where you don't include that, which is a very easy change. I'll go over it in the video. But nonetheless, let's get into it. All right, so there's a couple things I want to go over. So what we're going to want to do is we want to set up a UI um, that will have the coins displayed and then the value will change. We also want to change the amount of coins we have when an actor overlaps with a coin, as well as when it kills an actor. You'll be able to adjust that as well. And then lastly, we'll go into changing levels. So to start off, we're not going to make the UI first. We first want to just create our values that are going to store our coin. And the currency I'm using is just coin. Um, Let me actually, this is a brand new project. I always forget, but going into edit preferences and then just main window, I prefer my new windows to always open up here. And then what we want to do is just simply add a integer. So we're gonna name this coin. Let's change this to an integer. So that's one of the two places we'll have it stored. Next, we want to create a game instance. A game instance is where you can store information that can transfer to levels. So most things, when you close a level, uh, majority of like everything disappears and none of the values stay the same. Typically, when you go to the next level, you're loading a brand new character. You have to reload stats, etc. So we want to create a game instance because it allows you to transfer that information. So we're going to game instance. We're going to name this GI for game instance, and I'm going to just name it main. I typically like to just call it main. There's only one game instance you can have in a game. And then the reason I have project settings open up over here is because we actually want to set that in the project settings. So we're going to go game instance. And you can only have one, and this is where you set it. So with that, I've changed the game instance to my GI main. We're going to open up GI main. And what we want to do is do the same thing. So I'm going to do coin value. I just like to add a little different name. You can have it literally say both say coin just to make sure it always matches. But visually for this tutorial, I want you guys to see the distinction. So default 0, keep it the same. And then now since we both have the ability to store, we also want to make it so that it's really easy to communicate between the actors, the player, and the GI main. So I'm going to create a blueprint interface, which allows me to easily call functions without having to cast to anything. So I'm going to make a blueprint interface. Blueprint interface. BI is the naming convention that I use. Just call this interact since it's going to be the thing interacting. And the two functions I want to create, I don't know why I deleted that when I could have just renamed it. So I want to collect coins. This is a function I'm going to call whenever the player is going to collect new coins. So they're going to be adding coins. You could also just call this like add coins or whatever. I'm going to have different functions for adding, subtracting, and things like that. You could build it into one if you really want to and just rename it accordingly and just do the math. That works perfectly fine. So let's go into naming this coin integer. This is what I'm going to call when I want to send coins to the player. And then I want to set coin value. Input is also going to be coin value. So this is the function I'm going to set in the GI main so that when they receive this, they'll set the value of coin. And then those are the two functions. We're going to go to GI main. We want to add in the interface. So interact. And then compile. Sometimes if you don't see anything, just make sure to compile. And then we're going to set coin value. Set this equal. So this is all you need to do for GI main. This is just to make sure that this value equals into the player's coins. Typically, I don't like to call functions in the GI main. However, you do whatever you like. I use it for just storing the variables that I need to transfer over. And then for the player, we're going to do the same thing. Interact. However, the player is going to be a little different. We're going to want to get coins. Oop, double click it. We're going to grab our coin variable. We're going to set. And what we want to do is we're going to get the coin again, and we're going to add. What's happening is that when we call this function, we're going to add the new coins with the previous and set that as the new value. So this will update our current value. And then since we have now updated our players, we want to now update the GI main. So we'll also want to call, or actually, let's do this. Game instance. And then this is where we're going to do the set coin value. So with that, we now will set the game instance value to equal to the player. But the other thing we need to also cover is that if we go into another new level, we need to make sure that our value isn't set to the default. So over to the begin play, what I'm going to do is get game instance. And then let's go cast to GI. We're going to get coin. And then what we could do, actually, so over south, we can do set coin value. Duplicate this and connect the two. Really, you don't have to do this portion of setting the coin value. You could really just grab coin and set and do this. That would work completely the same. But just I like to show the value of using blueprint interface functions. So perfect. So now we have the coin set up. Now we need to get these to work with other actors. Now we need to make our coin, and then we need to make a test actor so that we can kill it and gain coins as well. Let's go into my coins folder and pause the video real quick so that I can import this in. This is just a very basic mesh I found on Quixel. It's just of a coin. You can literally just search coin and it'll pop up. And then I just imported some image from ChatGPT. So with this, I want to make my coin actor. So we're going to write and select on blueprint actor. We're going to name this BP coin. Open this. Very simple stuff. We're going to get a static mesh. Let's put in the mesh I imported. It actually is super tiny, so I'm scale this by 10, and I'm going to rotate it just so that it's facing, so it's not just flat on the ground. Nice. And we're going to want a sphere collision. This is just so that the player has a range to pick up the coin. All right, so now we need to set it up so when the player overlaps, they pick up the coin is destroyed, and the player's value updates. So let's go into isA. This checks the class. I like to just always check to make sure this is my player. So we'll go into third person because this is the default. Name it whatever it is. Another thing you could do is if you want somebody with the specific blueprint interface, you can also just do does implement interface and then just select the one that you set, and you can do it that way as well. Since I just want to make sure only players can get it, I'm going to do is a third person. And then from here, I now want to collect coins, reorganize that a little. From here, so instead of setting this manually, we want to just turn this into a variable. Also, let's just do this as provide coin, so that's more clear on what it's doing. And this is what's going to call this function over here. And then it's going to add whatever coin that we're saying to add to the current value. And then I also want to set this as editable, because let's say you want to kill a monster and drop it on the ground. This way you can set the amount of coin. I'm going to set the default to 5. So automatically it will give it 5, but if you want to change it for whatever reason and control that, like let's say you have like a data table set up for it, you'd be able to communicate with that. All right. So awesome. We collect the coins, but we also want to make sure this dies after. So to make sure this is working, since I haven't set up the UI yet, I also want to do a print and just get the coin. Now let me drop this into the world. Get a few. And let's see if it prints. We got 5, 10, 15, 20. Awesome. So with that, we do have functional currency. If this is all you really needed just to see how that worked, you're good with that. But next we'll go into UI. So with that, typically you want to organize this into something significantly better than just putting it all into the third person blueprints. I'm doing this just to make it easy to see exactly what I'm using. I'm creating a widget blueprint here. So widget blueprint, blueprint. And we'll name this player HUD. This is going to just be my player's HUD, canvas. Starting off with a canvas panda, just so that we can have this on display. And then now I want a horizontal box, because I'm going to have an image of the coins as well as a text next to it, just to give it a identifier of what it is to the player. So let's anchor this to the bottom right. Let's 0.5, 0.5, negative 150, 150. And let's scale this to 200, 100. Add an image, put it in the box. And then we also need a text. Shove that in the box too. Let's turn these both into fill, just so they're evenly distributed. You can also add padding as well if you want to make it a little better. Let me do this. Have it a little bigger. Negative 250. Oop, sorry, wrong one. Okay. So cool. Let's 250. Yeah, that's fine. And then now I'm gonna set the image, not color picture, of the imported texture. Coins? Texture? Oh, it's coin, not coins. Whatever. All right. And then we go into this. I want to have this centered in the middle. 0, 0, 0. And then also I want the text to be in the middle as well. Font, I'm gonna change this to like 20. Awesome. Last thing we need to do is we need to make sure this is in fact connected to our player or the GI main. So depending on what you want to connect it to. So we can either create a binding here, which will create a brand new function, and then you'll be able to get the coins from there. You could do stuff like get player character, cast to third person, coin, and then you can plug that in. This works perfectly fine. This allows you to have more flexibility in what you want to do with the text, especially if you want to change it or add any specifics, like a minimum and maximum amount of values. However, for me, I don't want this. I want this to be super simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the game instance, cast to GI main, and then I will promote that to a variable. It's just telling me this is an error because I created a binding. And then you could do it like that. Go to GI main coin value, and you can set it there. This works if you want to set it up directly to what's being stored between all the levels. There's nothing really wrong with that. You could definitely go that route. You can also do the exact same thing with get player character, cast to third person, and then promote this and name this player character. Or my player HUDs, I'm usually always referencing the character at like multiple points. So I usually promote it to a variable. So you'd be able to reference it that way. I just cast in the beginning just to make it easier. But with that, we can do the exact same thing. So that way you can connect the binding to any type of variable that's set in the UI. And then now let's go into the game. Oh, sorry, we forgot an important thing. We need to make sure our UI is in fact in the game. So under the player character event play, we need to create widget. Owning player is going to be player controller. And then we're going to add to viewport. So we have 5, we have 10, 15, 20. So we're able to now add in the excuse me, add in the UI that shows that this is working correctly. So now let me close a few of these. I don't need player HUD anymore. Now I want to show you an actor that when you kill it, you add coins. It's very similar towards the blueprint coin that I just made, but instead it's just going to be, hold on, let's do blueprint class, character, BP, test character. Let's just add in literally anything. Standard Manny, let's go. Could have used anything else. All right. Drag him into the world. Back to the character. All right. For him, we're going to do destroyed. So when this player is killed, we're going to call this function. And during this function, we want to increase the coin of our player. Typically, if you have a combat system and you're killing someone, you have some type of function that references the player that killed them. For example, let me pull up apply damage event. Was it any damage? So Unreal has these built-in systems that apply damage. When this is called, this function is called to the other actor that is receiving the damage. So when you want to do damage, you call this function. And then when you're receiving damage, this event is called. And then this is where the damage causer is plugged in. So for example, if this was self, they're the damage causer. They're doing damage to whoever this damage actor is. And then from here, let's say this actor was dying, you would have this set as a variable as the damage causer. And then from there, you would do collect coins. And then promote that to a variable nonetheless. And it would look like that. Of course, you want to make sure if they receive damage, they're in fact dead and they're not just, you don't want to give them every coin to say they've been attacked. But nonetheless, that is what you would do if there was like combat. I'm not having combat, I'm just having destroyed. So we're going to get player character. Pass to third person. Actually, we don't even need that. We can do collect coins. So no need to cast. And then I kind of made this variable when I was showing you stuff, but we can plug that in and we'll do the same thing for provide. We'll name that 7 or put it as a value of 7. So when this guy dies, the player will get 7. And then now we just need a debug so that we can see what it's like. So press 1, get all actors, test character, loop. All I'm doing is checking or getting every single actor that's the test character and then just going to kill it. Destroy actor. And then when he dies, I'll get 7 coins. Awesome. So if we go in here, if I press the 1 key, 7. And I can pick it up. Awesome. So with that, you're technically done with all the functionalities. Everything's set up so you can transfer levels. I'll show you really quick how to demonstrate just that it actually works. But nonetheless, this is technically the end of the video. But let's do debug key 2. What we'll do is we'll just open up a new level, open level. What is it? Third person map 1. I think that's what happens when you copy. Maps, Control C, Control V. Yeah, third person 1, third person 1. Cool. So when I press the debug key 2, it will open up the next map. And then my coin value should stay exactly the same. So if I hit play, so I'm at 12, I'm pressing 2, and I'm still at 12. So everything's set up, everything's working. I want to show you really quick what happens if you don't set the coin value for the GI. So if I do this, I disconnected the GI. So boom, 5. I'm at 17, press 2, and now I'm back at 0. So if you don't have the GI connected, it will only stay with the current level you're on. If that's your intentions, then you definitely don't need the game instance. But if you want to make sure that you have currency that travels to different levels, then make sure to set that up. Awesome. With that, that is the end of the video. I hope you liked it. If you guys have any feedback or suggestions for other videos, feel free to comment, let me know. Join the Discord, hit the subscribe button. All the other mumbo jumbo people usually feel. Nonetheless, thanks for watching.